Hey everyone, welcome back to World of Gaming. Jeez, it's been a long time since I've last made a scripted video. Anyways, Wave 6 might be less than a month away, and with the recent Nintendo Direct revealing Daisy Circuit and not 2, but 4 characters, it seems like I have limited time before Wave 6 is getting revealed. So, here's my definitive prediction list for the final wave of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC. Let's go! Now, let's start with the tracks that are confirmed. This segment will last longer than 30 seconds however, as I'll also give some route predictions for these tracks, and I'll also predict the slots these tracks will appear in. So let's of course start with Wii Daisy Circuit. This was a course that I didn't really expect, but I'm very much enthusiastic about. A few changes to this track include the addition of a glider ramp at the staircase shortcut, a ramp at the end of the tunnel, and big boosts at the hairpin. Now, one thing that I thought about was this is the second track not from Tour to be featured in a Nintendo Direct presentation. The other one is DS Peach Gardens. Coincidentally, that track has a route change on lap 3 which makes you go backwards. Now, I think this could actually be the case on Daisy Circuit too. Lap 1 would be the normal route, but on lap 2 things would change. Arrow signs would block a part of the roundabout section, forcing you to take one specific route. The shortcut would also just have a normal ramp instead of a glider ramp. It would lead into a glider ramp like on Daisy Circuit R in Tour. Also, like Daisy Circuit R, the shortcut would be blocked by a blockade sign like the routes on Bangkok Rush on lap 3. Lap 3 would be a fully backwards lap, with the ramp from lap 1 being removed. Exiting the tunnel, the same glider ramp would be there and the shortcut would be accessible, though still blocked by a Piranha plant cutout. Obviously, the ramp from lap 1 and 2 shortcuts would be removed. Now, as for the placement in the wave, I predict Wii Daisy Circuit would be the second track of the Acorn Cup and that it would take the slot CNSW56 in the files. To the uninitiated, the tracks in the Booster Course Pass appear in the course directory in anonymous folders to prevent data mining. These folders are named CNSWXY, with C standing for course, NSW standing for Nintendo Switch, X being the number of the wave, and Y being the placement of the course in that wave. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, why is it CNSW56 and not CNSW62? Well, that's because CNSW62 is actually Wii Maple Tree Wave. Up until Wave 2, these folders were pretty accurate, but in Wave 3, Nintendo made an alternation. See, this wave was originally data mined to have Tour London Loop, DS Peach Gardens, GBA Bull Lake, 3DS Rock Mountain, Tour Berlin Byways, GCN Waluigi Stadium, Tour Merry Mountain, and 3DS Rainbow Road, in that order. With 2 3DS tracks ending both cups, this kinda had to be changed. So, Waluigi Stadium was moved to Wave 4, Peach Gardens to the Moon Cup, and Wii Maple Tree Wave was moved a year ahead to the finale of the Rock Cup. These changes carried over to the other waves, but Wave 5 threw in another curveball. Instead of CNSW63 being a Tour Nitro track like data mined when Wave 1 was released, it was Wii Moonview Highway. It was clear from the state of Mario Kart Tour at the time that the odds of that being another Nitro were unlikely. There were only 4 tracks not yet in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe according to ID Gap data mines, these being Piranha Plant Cove, Mob OR or Gmop Ocean Ruins, Piranha Plant Pipeline, Mob DK or Gmop Dokkan, Rome Avanti, Mob R or Gmop Rome, and Madrid Drive, Mob MD or Gmop Madrid. There were 2 more tracks in the files, but both of these likely were test tracks for objects on Piranha Plant Cove. Now, something similar was also the case for the final GameCube tracks in the DLC. The only ones in Tour were Mushroom Bridge, DK Mountain and Dino Dino Jungle. There were 2 more GameCube slots left for Wave 6 according to the March 2022 data mines, and it was clear that these wouldn't be for both the jungles as they share the same music, so it would have to be one of the jungles and Mushroom Bridge, right? Well, Daisy Circuit deconfirmed this. There was only 1 Wii slot left in Wave 6, CNSW68, and the odds of Daisy Circuit ever being intended to end the Booster Course Pass are simply nihil. There are also more reasons as for why Mushroom Bridge wasn't added. First, it's too simple. The layout is very similar to that of SNES Mario Circuit 1, just with a bit of traffic and alternate routes. There's a reason why it's a Flower Cup track in the original game. Secondly, Moonview Highway has a very similar theme and is simply far superior. Therefore, Mushroom Bridge doesn't make any sense. Thirdly, its render date in Mario Kart Tour was January 18th, 2022, which is before the reveal of the Booster Course Pass on February 9th. This basically means that the track was finalized on this date. Now, why is this a problem? Well, remember that there was a leak in Wave 1 of an image file with an updated banner for the Booster Course Pass, featuring more future tracks. This likely was finalized somewhere between the reveal of the Booster Course Pass and the release of Wave 1. The problem is that all tracks that would come to the Booster Course Pass with a render date of before the banner creation, with an exception being 3DS Rock Mountain, though that got leaked during the later Wave 2 music leak, were included on the banner. And lo and behold, Mushroom Bridge isn't on the banner! Don't believe me? Here's a full list of all tracks on the banner top left to bottom right. Finally, let's talk about the gameplay aspect. This is a custom track of GCN Mushroom Bridge's model from Mario Kart Tour and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, made by Jason Oz, scaled to the correct dimensions. And while I liked playing this track, the shortcut is extremely unnatural, like you literally slow down because the off-road is too long. But this straight, oh goodness, where do I even start? It's way too wide to be considered interesting and there's no challenge to this. Sure, you can go on top of the bridge, but it's so easy that even the biggest noobs could take the shortcut. So yeah, this track is not coming. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, the practically confirmed tracks. So let's throw Mushroom Bridge out of the window and talk about those. So let's start with Piranha Plant Cove. I cannot wait to see this course in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It already looks amazing in Tour and it will be even better in the Booster Course Pass. Let's start with the route. Lap 1 would be Piranha Plant Cove 1, but instead of going through the swamp section, you would go through the starting area in reverse. On lap 2, you do Piranha Plant Cove 2R, except for the different starting line of the course. This makes sense due to the otherwise useless platform at the stair section. Then, on lap 3, you do the swamp section from Piranha Plant Cove 1 in reverse, and then transition to doing Piranha Plant Cove 3 and end the race. I think this course will take the slot of CNSW64 and will be the final track of the Acorn Cup. Let's now move on to Piranha Plant Pipeline. For whatever reason, some people don't think this track will be added because of the name and its simple theming, but that straight up doesn't make any sense. It's a pretty complex track, especially on 200cc, and since I like myself a challenge, this will be a great track for me. I think it will be either the second or third track of the Spiny Cup with the CNSW67 slot, but most likely the third. There's a reason why I think the other scenario is also likely, but I'll come back to that. Now for the final city tracks. Let's begin with Avanti, my favorite city track in Tour. Lap 1 would be the first variant up until the end, where it turns around to the starting area in reverse. Then it does Avanti 2 with the final part of Avanti 1 to complete the lap in the right orientation. Finally, lap 3 would be Avanti 3 in its entirety, apart from the removal of the glider ramp at the Trevi Fountains. Due to its complexity, Tour Avanti would be the first track of the Spiny Cup, with CNSW 54 as a slot. Now, let's move on to Tour Madrid Drive, which will be the first track of the wave, with the slot CNSW 51. Yes, Wave 6 will only have cities originally intended for Wave 5. The race would begin with Madrid Drive 1, with lap 2 being Madrid Drive 3 up until the exit of the Plaza Mayor. Instead of entering the Atochas train station, you would drive into the Prado Museum. This is because the shortcut through the station would be very unnatural when driven in a normal direction, plus now there would also be an escalator to drive on. Upon exit, instead of turning left to the starting line, you would drive through the Puerta de Alcalá to start lap 3. Then you complete the race by driving Madrid Drive 2 with the Atocha train station section we missed earlier, and return to the start-finish line. Pretty complex, but not as much as Avanti, so it will be the first slot of the Acorn Cup. Next up, let's talk about the advertisement theory. As many may know, tracks like Coconut Mall, Avanti and Squeaky Clean Sprint feature advertisements for Dino outdoor and camping goods and Vanilla Lake winter sports equipment. When the Booster Course Pass first got revealed and these ads were visible, many thought that these would be for future tracks and future waves. There is a problem with that, however. Dino Jungle and all retro and remix variants of Vanilla Lake have a render date of far before the release of Wave 1. Dino Jungle has been finished for 4.5 years already, and even RMX Vanilla Lake 2, which was recently added, has a 3-year-old render date. Therefore, none of these courses will be coming to Wave 6, and it would also mean that we won't see other tracks that are often predicted like DS Airship Fortress, 3DS Resilience Ice World, and for whatever reason GCN Rainbow Road, which isn't even in Tour yet it gets predicted way too many times even after the shutdown. Why? Sorry for the rant by the way, but there's simply no way we would get those tracks. Instead, we would get GCN DK Mountain and SNES Bowser's Castle 3. Both of these have render dates for after Wave 1's reveal. DK Mountain is interesting however, as that track has a render date of between the reveal and release of Wave 1. That being said, however, DK Mountain has a different color scheme in its track icons, with a more saturated and reddish mountain, so it could be that this render date would be for the beta variant of DK Mountain. At least, that's what I theorize, as I have no idea how render dates are determined and what they symbolize. Now, moving on to SNES Bowser's Castle 3. This track was made with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in mind, as seen by the extreme slopes. Heck, you can see it even better when I show you this render I made for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe custom tracks. Yes, I can play this track early so I can master all the strats before anyone else. Anyways, regarding positions and slots, I think DK Mountain can be the third track of the Acorn Cup with CNSW66 as a slot, and SNES Bowser's Castle 3 could be the second or third slot of the Spiny Cup, with the slot CNSW57. Now that leaves one slot remaining to end the Booster Cross pass on, CNSW68. The prefix leak indicated that this would be a Wii track, so it would have to be Wii Rainbow Road. However, I could also see the possibility of this being GBA Bowser's Castle 4, depending on how well Nintendo can make Wii Rainbow Road work in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. With a bit of luck, Nintendo can get the scaling just right, maybe even by doing some remodeling, like they have been doing with other tracks too. Wii Movie Highway is a great example of that. I mean, look at the difference. Anyways, to me it doesn't matter which one gets in and which one doesn't, because they're both phenomenal tracks. It makes me kinda sad that we can't get both unless SNES Bowser's Castle 3 or GCN DK Mountain gets replaced, and I wouldn't want that either. Now, there also are more tracks rendered off of GCN DK Mountain that could throw in a curveball, so here's a list of those tracks and their likelihood. Wii Driveway Ruins. It would fit, but it isn't epic enough. GBA Yoshi Desert. Too simple and basically censored walls, but yellow and more faithful to the original. RMX Donut Plains 1. Too simple, as we already have Donut Plains 3. GBA Luigi Circuit. We already have Wii Days Circuit, and the theming isn't complex enough. N64 Mario Raceway. No. GBA Peach Circuit. Heck no. So yeah, there you have it. There only really are 9 courses that could fit in Wave 6. Now onto the release date. In the past, the American news articles for Booster Cross Pass tracks have given a good guideline for the date of the trailer, which usually releases at the same day of the final spotlight. Now that 2 of the 4 spotlights have been dropped, it's safe to say that the trailer will release 2 weeks after the second spotlight, featuring Moonview Highway and Squeaky King Sprint, so that would be on the 26th of October. Now, looking at past release dates, Wave 3 released 2 weeks after the trailer dropped instead of the usual 1 week. So, applying the same logic and the fact that Wednesday at 10 AM Japanese time is a common release time and day for the past waves, I think November 8th is the most logical release date. Now, during the latest Nintendo Direct, Nintendo showed off a timeline of upcoming Switch titles and DLC. What's odd is that Wave 6 was put right after Super Mario RPG, which will release on November 17th, and since the compilation is in chronological order, you might think that Wave 6 would release after that, but I think it's because there's only a release window, which is Holiday 2023 and before the December 31st, 2023, so they put it between Super Mario RPG and the Indigo Disc DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which also only has a release window, being Winter 2023, so this makes the most sense. Finally, let's talk about the possibility of even more content coming. I simply don't think there will be any more tracks. Sure, one could look at Mario Kart Tour and make another pack of 48 courses with ease, but it really wouldn't be good. There are a couple of good releases in Tour that won't be coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. However, I don't think there would be enough tracks for even a 24 course pack, unless the RMX courses would come, but that seems unlikely to me due to them mostly being generic. However, one thing I could see coming is the battle courses and additional characters. All battle courses have a render date of around July 2022, which is extremely recent. If we could get all battle stages from Mario Kart Tour, with the exception of GBA Battle Course 1 for obvious similarity reasons, along with 6 more characters to give us a 7x8 character roster, that would be good. King Bob-omb, Poochie, Hammer Bros, Charging Chuck, Nawet and Monty Mole would be some nice additions. Character costumes and Mii-suits could also be a good addition and wouldn't take very long for Nintendo to implement. However, I expect Nintendo to rather move on to the next game on the next console. So, what do you think? What are your predictions for Wave 6? Do you have different suggestions for additional characters, different routes for the cities, or different bonus editions for the future? Leave them down in the comments. Anyways, thank you all for watching and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. This was Jasmine from World of Gaming and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!